This is the largest map in the world. Wait, what? You thought this was the biggest map ever made, right? Well, it turns out that title belongs to this one. In 2014, an artist from Mongolia created this ginormous map showing every single mountain, river and city across his country. It's so big that it took 100 people 2 weeks just to finish painting it by hand. And here's where it gets crazy. This map isn't just huge, it's also interactive. The artist wove magnetic material into the paint so that when you touch it, the area lights up and plays music. It's like a magical map straight out of a fantasy novel. But why make such a ridiculously large map in the first place? Well, Mongolia is a vast country with a population of around 3 million people, but only about 1 million of them live in urban areas. That means that most Mongolians live far away from each other and even farther away from any decent maps or GPS systems. So the artist, Bat Erdine, had a simple idea. He wanted to make a map so big that no matter where you were in the country, you could find your place on it. And we all know how big Mongolia is. It's the second largest country in the world after Russia. In fact, Mongolia is so big that the capital city of Ulaanbaatar is actually located pretty close to the Russian border. If you flew directly north from New York City, you would end up in downtown Ulaanbaatar. So who actually owns this enormous map? Well, it's not really owned by anyone. After Batard and his team finished painting it in 2014, he mounted it to a wall in his art studio. But the map is so big that his studio couldn't fit it all inside. So now visitors can walk around outside on a patio to see the entire thing. Before we show you exactly how big this map is, let's take a closer look at the details. As we mentioned earlier, it took a team of 100 painters 2 weeks to complete the map. And they didn't just randomly start painting. They followed very precise instructions from Bat Erdine, who spent 5 years researching and planning the project. He hired the best cartographers in the country and scoured through old maps and satellite images to get the most accurate depiction of Mongolia possible. Now, remember how I said that the map is interactive? Well, that's because Berardini wanted to do something special for each region of the country. He asked local artists from each province to add their own unique touch to the map. For example, the mountains are painted in different colors depending on their altitude. And the rivers have a blue glow that makes them pop off the page. But perhaps the coolest feature is the music that plays when you touch certain parts of the map. Each region has its own traditional instrument, and Barty Dennis recorded these instruments and programmed them to play when you activate the map, so when you walk around the map. It's like a concert of Mongolian folk music, okay, so we've talked about the details. But how big is this map exactly? Well, the short answer is really, really big. The longest side of the map is 33 meters or 108 feet, and the shortest side is 18 meters or 59 feet. That's almost twice the length of a basketball court. And the entire thing weighs over 100 kilograms or 220 pounds. But hold on a second, this map is not only huge, but it's also incredibly detailed. We're talking about a country that has thousands of mountains, rivers and cities, and yet somehow this map manages to show every single one of them. So how did they do it? Well, the secret is in the materials they used. Painting a map this size requires a lot of paint, and traditional paints just wouldn't do the trick. They needed something more durable that could withstand the weight of the canvas without cracking or fading. That's why they used special weather-beaten paints that are typically used for outdoor murals. These paints are made from natural pigments mixed with a type of clay called perlene. This gives them a matte finish and makes them resistant to rain, wind and even pollution. The result is a map that looks just as vibrant today as it did 10 years ago. Of course, creating a map this size isn't without its challenges. One of the biggest problems is keeping it flat. I mean, just imagine the wind trying to blow this thing down. So Bat and his team came up with a clever solution. They stretched the canvas over wooden frames and then attached weights to the bottom to keep it in place. These weights are made from concrete and steel, and each one weighs about 50 kilograms or 110 pounds. Together, they create a force of over 10,000 newtons, which is equivalent to the weight of 3 fully grown elephants. But despite all the effort that went into making this map, it's still in danger of being destroyed. That's because Mongolia is a nomadic country and its people are constantly moving around. When they move their homes, they'll often drag them across rough terrain, which can damage the map. That's why Batad and his team had to make it as indestructible as possible. To make sure the map would last for generations, Batadine used a special technique called pashmina making. This is a traditional Mongolian method of weaving together multiple layers of fabric to create a thick, durable material. Batadine applied this technique to the canvas of the map, making it several layers thick in some places. This makes it nearly impossible to tear or rip the map, even if it's handled roughly. As we mentioned before, the map is mounted on the wall of Batadine's art studio, and to protect it from the elements, he built a special enclosure around it. This enclosure is made from wood and glass, which allows visitors to walk around the map without damaging it. Creating this map wasn't just a fun project for Batadine and his team. It was a way to preserve the culture and history of Mongolia. Each stroke of the brush, each dot of color, and each note of music tells the story of an entire nation. So if you're ever in Ulaanbaatar, we highly recommend checking out this one-of-a-kind map. It's a truly humbling experience to stand in front of something so massive and so detailed. And who knows, maybe it will inspire you to learn more about Mongolian culture or to plan your next trip to this amazing country. All right, folks, it's time to wrap things up. But before we go, we want to hear from you. What do you think of this giant map? Is it the coolest thing you've ever seen, or have you seen something similar before? Either way, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.